My name is Tamara, and I guess you could say I'm a widow. It's been a year since my husband passed away. It's a title I never thought I'd have, but life has a funny way of changing things when you least expect it. Travis and I were deeply in love, the kind of love you read about in romantic books. We met in college, where we were figuring out love and life together. Travis was amazing, a charming guy with a smile that could light up even the darkest day. We were that couple everyone secretly envied, and life was good. We thought we had all the time in the world. But let me tell you about Travis' background. He had a tough childhood. His dad passed away when he was just a little boy, leaving a hole in his heart that never quite healed. His mom, Carolina, was something else, and I mean that in the worst way. Instead of being there for Travis when he needed her, she was off chasing her own love stories. Travis was practically invisible to her. Carolina remarried a wealthy man named Frederic, who lived in a completely different world. She cut ties with Travis like he was nothing, focusing only on her new husband's money and the fancy life they had. Frederic bought her a house, cars, and many other things, and she acted like Travis was just a nuisance. It was heartbreaking to see Travis struggle with her indifference. When Travis proposed to me, our life was stable and secure. It seemed like the perfect time to share the news with his mom, hoping it might help heal their broken relationship. So we went to her fancy mansion, full of hope. But when we got there, she couldn't have cared less. It was like Travis was a stranger to her. She barely acknowledged us, let alone our big news. It was clear she didn't care about us at all. That visit was eye-opening. When we stood at her doorstep, her coldness was shocking. "Hey Mom, it's me. It's been a while," Travis said. "Oh, Travis, why are you here? And who is this?" Carolina replied. "This is Tamara, Mom, my fiancé. Nice to finally meet you, Carolina." "I've heard a lot about you," I said. "Fiancé, huh? You're engaged, and that's why you're bothering me?" Carolina asked. "Mom, we thought you'd want to know." "I've missed you," Travis said. "Missed me, Travis? It's been years." "I've moved on," Carolina replied coldly. "Mom, please just listen. We're getting married soon, and we'd love for you to be part of our lives. We live just half an hour away," Travis pleaded. "Rebuild what exactly, Travis? I'm busy. I have a new family and a new life. I don't need reminders of my past," she snapped. "We're not trying to remind you of anything, Carolina. We just thought you should know about our wedding plans," I added. "Wedding plans? How quaint. But I've got plans of my own, plans that don't involve you or Travis." "I'm sorry, kid," she said dismissively. "Mom, why are you doing this?" "We're your family," Travis said, his voice full of pain. "Travis, I don't have time for this. My husband Fred will be back soon. He's the one who matters now," Carolina said. Her words cut deep, rejecting her own son like that. How could a mother be so selfish? Travis was devastated, and I felt his pain. But life went on, and we got married. Our wedding day was magical, and as I walked down the aisle toward Travis, I knew I was making the right choice when I married Travis. We exchanged vows, promising to stick together no matter what. Our first year of marriage was filled with beautiful moments. We lived in a cozy little apartment that we rented while saving up for a house. It was just the two of us, so the apartment seemed perfect. Travis was the most loving and caring husband. He would surprise me with breakfast in bed, and every day felt special. We created little routines together, lazy Sunday mornings with pancakes and cuddles, and adventurous Saturday nights trying out new restaurants. Travis always remembered the little things, like how I liked my coffee and my favorite flower. We talked about our dreams, our future, and how we wanted to build a family together. Our first wedding anniversary was supposed to be a magical evening. I went all out with scented candles, flowers, everything. I was just waiting for Travis to come home from work so we could enjoy a fancy meal and toast to our love. But life had other plans. Instead of Travis, the phone rang, and it wasn't good news. It was the police. telling me that Travis had been in a car accident on his way home. All those romantic plans, all the effort I put into making the evening special, it all fell apart. The dinner sat there, growing cold, while I rushed to the hospital with my heart full of fear. I paced the hospital corridors, praying that Travis would be okay. But the doctors gave me the heartbreaking news. There was nothing they could do. They said he had a day or two left at most. It was a gut-wrenching moment. They told me I could go in and talk to him one last time. When I entered his room, I was overwhelmed with emotion. We held hands, tears streaming down our faces. It was all in God's hands now, and I clung to the hope that a miracle might save him. Tamara, I don't know if I'm going to make it, baby, Travis said, his voice weak. The doctors say it's touch and go. Travis, don't say that. You're going to pull through. You have to, I replied, trying to hold back my tears. Tamara, I love you so much. Whatever happens, just promise me that you'll be happy and that you'll find love again. I couldn't have had a better life. Thank you. Travis, please. There's something else, he said, his voice faint. I bought us a house. It was meant to be our anniversary gift. It's a really nice one, in a great neighborhood, right next to my mum's place. I held on to some hope, I guess. I thought maybe if I was close to her, she might let me be part of her life again. I'm sorry, I feel like a fool now. Oh, honey, don't be sorry. You tried. The house is yours now. You're the owner. Do whatever feels right. I understand if you don't want a daily reminder of my mom, so you can sell it or live there. It's up to you. Travis, you're not going anywhere, I said, clutching his hand tightly as tears streamed down my face. I knew I had to make the painful call to Carolina. After all, Travis was her son, and the doctors had made it clear that he didn't have much time left, maybe just a day or two. I dialed her number, dreading the conversation. Carolina, it's Tamara, Travis's wife. I need to talk to you about Travis. He's been in a terrible accident, and the doctors don't have good news. They say he may not have much time left. Oh really, that's so sad. I'm sorry for him. I can send you the hospital address, she replied, almost dismissively. You don't know what I've been through lately. Frederic and I got a divorce, she continued, as if that was the most important thing. I'm sorry to hear that, Carolina, but Travis is your son, and he's in critical condition, I said, trying to hold back my frustration. I told Carolina she should come visit Travis at the hospital. Her response, I have a therapist appointment, so I won't be able to make it. Carolina, he's your son. How can you be so cold? He needs his mother right now, I said, shocked. Look, Travis and I haven't had a good relationship for years. He chose his path, and I chose mine. I don't see why I should drop everything now just because he's in trouble. It's about his life. Don't you want to see your son one last time? I pleaded. I don't know. Like I said, I have a lot on my plate right now. My condolences, Samantha. I'll try to be there for the funeral. Carolina, it's Tamara. You don't want to regret not being there for him when he needs you the most. I've already given my answer. Goodbye, she said coldly. I couldn't believe how selfish she was. Travis was fighting for his life, and she didn't even care. A few days later, the unimaginable happened. Travis passed away. It was a gut-wrenching moment that left me numb and lost. Surprisingly, Travis had a will in place, and he entrusted me with making arrangements for his funeral. In his will, he left me some of his assets, which was both comforting and heartbreaking. Even more surprising, he left a decent amount of money to his mom, Carolina. As for the new house, it wasn't mentioned in the will, but the seller had already transferred it to my name, so it was mine completely. Dealing with Travis' death was incredibly difficult, and I couldn't handle the funeral arrangements and paperwork on my own. That's when I turned to my sister, Kelly. Without hesitation, she said she'd help me through it all. The day of the funeral finally came, and it was as gloomy as our moods. Friends, family, and everyone who knew Travis gathered to pay their respects. It was a tearful service, with people sharing stories about him. Amid all that sadness, I couldn't help but hope to see Carolina there. But she didn't show up. I couldn't let it ruin the day, though. Grief had already taken a strong hold on me. After the service, we headed to the reception. People shared stories, gave condolences, and there was food. The will reading was supposed to happen during this time, and I had honestly given up on the idea of Carolina showing up. I was trying not to break down when, lo and behold, Carolina strolled in. "Thanks for showing up so early," I said sarcastically. "You've got quite the alcohol scent about you." "Just a few drinks with a possible future flame," she replied casually. "Seriously, you missed your son's funeral service for that." "Oh, come on, sweetie. I needed something to soak up the booze. I felt a bit queasy after all that." "Carolina, I can't believe you. You couldn't be bothered to show up for Travis' funeral, and now you're here drunk for the will reading." "Honey, I don't do funerals. They're such a downer. But I'm here for the important stuff," she winked at me. I couldn't believe the nerve of this woman. Despite Carolina's outrageous behavior, it was time for the will reading, so I gathered everyone around. As the executor, I took a deep breath and began reading Travis' will. The room was filled with hushed anticipation, and Carolina seemed particularly eager. "Ladies and gentlemen, as the executor of Travis' will, I'm here to carry out his final wishes. Travis left behind some assets and his thoughts on how they should be distributed. Additionally, Travis allocated a separate account for his mother, Carolina. In it, he left a sum of $5,000. $5,000? That's all he left for me? Travis, my boy, you truly were a poor soul, a loser even in death," Carolina sneered. Everyone was shocked by her cruel comments. "Carolina, this is not the time or place for such remarks. Travis had his reasons for what he chose to leave behind," I said firmly. "Seriously? Was he even a lawyer or just pretending? I can't believe he didn't have any property or savings and only had that little bit stashed away. It's like he was good for nothing. Looks like the poor guy died from poverty." "You're clearly drunk, Carolina. You should leave," I said, my patience wearing thin. "Oh, you bet I should leave. He was a lousy excuse for a son, and I don't want anything to do with him," she said as she stormed out. As the hours went by, I couldn't shake the memory of that messed up day. Carolina's heartless act at Travis while reading still stung like a bad hangover. My sister Kelly came over, and we both vented our frustration and sorrow about Carolina, who had shown no decency for her own flesh and blood. Time moved on, and I started thinking about the house Travis had bought for us. The idea of living next door to Carolina was unbearable. I couldn't stomach the thought. So, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I got in touch with the real estate agent who had been dealing with Travis's house purchase. Luckily, Travis hadn't completed all the paperwork before he passed away, so with the agent's help, I finally took the keys to the house. It was a bittersweet moment, knowing this was supposed to be our new home, but it was also a painful reminder that Travis was gone. One day, I gathered the courage to visit the house. As I walked up the driveway, emotions hit me hard. It wasn't just a house. It was a mansion, much grander than I had expected. Next door, Carolina's house seemed tiny in comparison. I didn't expect to see such a huge, beautiful place. As I walked through the door of what was supposed to be our new home, I couldn't stop thinking about the life Travis and I could have built together. The pain was unbearable as I explored every corner of the house, haunted by memories of what could have been. I realized that I couldn't live there without Travis. Determined to sell the mansion, I stepped outside. That's when I heard a familiar voice. "What are you doing here?" "None of your business," I replied. "Oh my God, there was no house here some time ago. Don't tell me you're the buyer of this place. It would be the biggest joke on earth with that little money your fiancé left you. Can't you feel any sympathy for your own son, who talks like that?" "Sympathy for that loser. I should throw a party instead." "Carolina, can't you cut the insults? Travis is gone. Show a little bit of respect." "Respect? Travis was a fool, just like his father. You and he made quite a pair. Her words hit me hard, not just because they were harsh, but because she was his mom. Her cruel comments replayed in my head, making the pain worse. So I decided not to sell a house after all. I was going to move into the mansion, not just to show off or compete with Carolina, but because I needed a fresh start. Maybe this was what Tragus wanted, so I decided to do it for both of us. Packing up my stuff from our old apartment was tough. Everything had a memory attached to it, a piece of Travis. I wrapped up his photos, his favorite books, and all the little things we had collected over the years. When I stepped into the new house, it felt like a dream Travis was supposed to be a part of. The day I settled into the new house, I knew what I had to do. I baked a batch of Travis's favorite blueberry muffins, put on a nice sundress, and headed next door to face Carolina. I wanted to give her the news myself. She opened the door. "Tamara, what on earth are you doing here? What is this?" "Hi, neighbor. I just moved in, and I thought I'd bring over some muffins I baked." "What? How? When? Why?" "Let me break it down for you, Carolina. Travis bought this house for us as an anniversary gift. He probably used his savings." "Travis did that? Why didn't I know about it?" "Because, Carolina, you were too busy with your new husband and counting his money." "Tamara, I didn't know." "Of course you didn't. You've always been absent, from not visiting Tragus in the hospital during his last moments to skipping his funeral service and just showing up for the will reading." "I made some mistakes." "Some mistakes. Carolina, you've been cruel and disgusting. You ridiculed Travis when you found out he left you very little in his will. You didn't even give him the respect he deserved." "I never realized how much I hurt him until it was too late. Please, Tamara, I'm genuinely sorry." "Sorry now that you found out your son had some money left for you. Love should have been unconditional. You know what, Carolina? Enjoy the rest of your life seeing my face every day as a constant reminder of what you did to your son. It's been a whole year since Travis passed away. They say time can heal wounds, but that doesn't mean the scars disappear. I'm learning to carry on, step by step. Carolina, on the other hand, is spiraling down a different path. It's hard not to notice her from my home right next to hers. She's been using alcohol as a crutch, drowning her sorrows, or maybe her guilt, who knows. Every time we run into each other, she has a look of guilt, shame, and regret on her face, and I can't help but feel a bit of sympathy for her at times. She missed out on so much when Travis was alive, and her absence during his darkest moments, even at his funeral, is something I can't forget or forgive. One thing I've learned through all of this is that being a bad person doesn't get you very far. Sure, you might gain some material things, but you lose something much more valuable, yourself. People who are dishonest, cruel, or selfish might seem like they're winning in the short term, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't last long. It's the ones who show love, compassion, and kindness who leave a lasting legacy. So my advice to anyone reading this is simple: be a good person. It might not always be easy,